currency. They want to be ranked. If there's a ranking and that's legitimate and it's happening because of from real references and introductions, which is I think the most powerful gesture in all of business. You expending your political capital to say this lawyer is good, you should use him. Nothing more powerful.
And the thing is, we are doing
that
all the time as individuals. I
right.
do between 5 and 10 referrals every day for people that need somebody
exactly
from
right.
my Rolodex.
Right.
I'm saying, go talk to
right.
this person.
And now those people get the benefit.
The big thing is balancing, right?
Yeah.
Balancing so the person that's doing the referral doesn't get rewarded too much, because then it just becomes spamming.
Yeah, right.
And use the quality of the referral while still induce, I don't know what you've got figured out, by still rewarding them, because if the only people that are winning are the people on the receiving end, that connector needs to find value. It'll be interesting.
So I don't get any points for doing it, because obviously then I'm trying to play.
No, you get points for having
being the person for
high quality collection.
I know we're tight on time here, but I just want to get your feedback real quick. What do you think about the $9 billion for LinkedIn? What are your thoughts on that? Is it bubble? Is it overpriced? I mean,
yeah, I'm not a huge LinkedIn fan. I'm really not. I actually think LinkedIn. I understand why people. My brother-in-law's a recruiter. I understand a lot about it. I can see tremendous value. I don't. What's up, bud?
They have a referral.
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of things that are nice to like about LinkedIn. I just think LinkedIn, the way I look at things is, what is LinkedIn 4 years from this second? And with the amount of things that I see happening with like Branch Out, within Facebook, with people like, what's happening? Every day, in my opinion, the top layer of LinkedIn is jumping off, because all you're doing is, I had to leave LinkedIn very quickly, because all that people wanted to do with me is pound me into oblivion to get to the people that I was connected to. So it becomes, back to that bridges and tunnel thing I was talking about, the best, depending on your business and your industry, but for a lot of sectors, and now I've started seeing a lot of there's a lot of talk on some of the CEO, the C-suite level people in corporate America of getting off LinkedIn because we're getting so bombarded with referrals. So I don't like a place where it's inherently bad for the best users, for like the most sought after kind of tier.
It's like the
I think that's
the country club.
I think it's a little dangerous. I also just don't see how, I understand how they can make a lot of money. Plus, then I'm looking at the competitive landscape. I'll give you a real weird one. I think Quora could end up becoming a big competitor to LinkedIn. I think there's a direction they could go. It depends. I think they're very ambitious guys. I don't think they're going to want that, but I wonder if it defaults into that. I definitely think it's a bubble. I did a video the week before it came out, and I said this stock is going to go through the roof because everybody in the stock market uses it. They're going to scratch their own itch. There's also this was the big thing that I learned from a lot of my friends. Most of I would say 150 of the top 200 clients of Wine Library are on Wall Street. We're an East Coast-based company. That's the demo of people who have big wine collections. It's the people I knew my whole life and still know them very well. They've been telling me for quite a while that the amount of Google remorse that's on the street for all the people that thought it was way overpriced, and then they could have made a good $1 trillion on it, that they think the Facebook IPO is going to be out of control. And to see LinkedIn's IPO go this high, if LinkedIn's a $10 billion market cap right now, I would be scared. Facebook would just be like unconscious, So
well, I like them being. I think the one good thing about it, from the perspective of an investor and a founder so first of all, the lists of their M&A targets, I show up first, so that's a good thing. And if they crater, they're not a buyer of a lot of companies. So I think the ecosystem needs. Yahoo's wounded and never coming back again. AOL is wounded, potential of coming back a little bit, but not being the juggernaut they used to be. Microsoft is a very mercurial buyer. They bought Skype. Prior to that, they hadn't bought anything in years. Probably won't buy another thing in another year or two. If the marketplace needs multiple buyers showing up, buying companies, it keeps it healthy. It keeps things turning over again.
But this is where, not that I disagree, but this is where I'd like to see companies that are in different sectors diversify or conceivably come in, right? Like, I always am confused by that. It's like.
They don't want to take the risk.
I'm very aware of why it's happening. Nintendo started off as a playing card company, right? Like, it's cool when people diverse and change, and like, I think that there's potential buyers for a lot of tech companies that don't seem obvious today, that are in different sectors that are on the market that are gonna look to, I mean, listen, whether you're 19 or 12 or 57, if you, I don't know how much you guys do this, but I people watch a lot too. I really, really do. You can't go out to dinner, whether you go to a 5-star restaurant in New York City or you go to Arby's or if you go to Olive Garden, the conversations at the table, if you really listen, are about technology. Technology is culture now. The conversations are about DVRs and TiVos and iPads and phones and sites, and it's just, you know, I was in Taco Bell the other day and listening to these guys talk about GroupMe, and it was just like it was their first day both on it, right? And it was just like, you could just tell not super teched out, like the demo, you know, if I was profiled, not the demo that would be teched out, and just like, I think that's probably the most fascinating thing. The fact that you're here and know about this and know about us and know about, you know, this space, I think sheds a lot of good potential long-term for everybody. I really do. I think watching this tech culture, it's becoming the culture. I mean, tech is being viewed like music and sports now. It really is starting to happen. And it could be another 10, 15 years away from being at that mature of a level, but I think this stuff is real. I mean, if you remember this conversation, try to just listen a little bit to, you would be blown away by percentage how so much more of the talk is the new app you got on your iPad or you know, or some form of other technology, or site, or are you buying this on Groupon, and not about the Grammys, not about, you know, the NFL lockout, you know, obviously a lot of people probably talking about basketball in this town right now, but you know, so you know.
I'll try to pay attention tonight. I'll try.
I think that's gonna be, I think that's really, I don't know if you guys, I mean, obviously in SF, and Austin, there's great, and New York, there's great tech, but I travel a lot, and I'm really paying attention in all sorts of parts of the country and just blown away what I'm hearing about in airports, which is very, very different than what I heard about 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And I think that in itself is kind of really maybe one of the most interesting things, which is that are we all sitting and talking about things that we know now is the curve of what we, you know, do you know how long it was before Twitter went mainstream compared to us nerds hanging out and knowing what it was? The speed of which Groupon or Foursquare was probably quicker, and are we going to be living in a world where like your average friend might know about something, you know, pretty darn quickly, or maybe even ahead of you by some, because not just TechCrunch and Mashable are talking about it anymore.
My grandfather's on GroupMe. My grandfather. Sorry.
Yeah, well, because it's texting and everybody understands it. That's why group texting's so easy. There's no barrier. They're like, oh, multiple people texting? I understand.
So I'm blown away by how fast that's actually happening for some software in the business world too. Like Dropbox, I meet so many just normal business users that like they're not early adopters at all, but they're, you know, architects or print shop people like that use Dropbox. It's nuts.
People probably adopted in the regular world quicker to Dropbox than they did to Google Docs, to do Google services like years ago from Microsoft. You're absolutely right. Like that's a great example.
Well, if there's one more question, or we can wrap up. I mean,
I want to say something. I want to speak to patience and kindness. I have something for you. I met you, my business partner and I met you 2 years ago at South by Southwest. And I'm from Traverse City, Michigan originally. Now I live here in Dallas. And we talked to you about Traverse City wine. I'm bringing you some Traverse City wine.
I love
they
it.
sent it to me in Dallas, and I actually knew I was going to see you. I'm like, I'm actually going to go give them this wine. And I told them about it.
I'm going to do something
So-
even better. Tonight, before I
Okay.
go to sleep, I will tape an episode of Daily Grape from my hotel room with those 2 lines.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited, but it's
Cool.
patience right there, you know?
See, it's 2 years. It's real patience. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can you do me a favor? Make sure we throw them in the car, because I can forget it. Can we throw the bottles in the car?
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much.
all right, guys. Well,
right,
I
thanks for
think
coming, guys.
people are starting to come in. So.
Sorry.